just do a quick introduction of our librettist once again. Idris Goodwin is an award-winning playwright, Great Greek poet, content creator, and arts champion. A 2021 United States Artist Fellow, Idris has authored over 60 original plays, and ranging from hip-hop to historical dramas and works for young audiences.
Perhaps for a millisecond, he is distracted, concerned for his brother. Dolphus, go on, you're a Stroud, make sure we stand strong. We watch the spectators in rapt attention, clenching their heads, following the runners as they curve and battle along to the final stretch, and Dolphus finishes first. We hear a reaction from the divided crowd. The white chorus embraces haters. With his cheap shoes, clothes bare, ashen skin, coiled hair, he must be more, something other than the others, a special product of God, not like his sad brothers. We'll never accept him or give him our trust, but first place is first place. And I guess he represents us. The full chorus comes together. He's our hope. He's the hope of our rocky town. Our hope. He's the hope to bring back the crown. Our hope. He's the hope, our one very own. The hope, the black hope of our snow-topped home. Let's go. You're all casting. When I not so subtly invited myself into this project, I knew I needed a big gun to sell them on it. And I've been a long admirer and colleague of this human, and when this project came on my radar, I thought, wouldn't that be amazing if Ashley and I could work together on this? Wouldn't that be so wonderfully special? So it's very exciting for me to introduce my co-librettist, your own Pikes Peak Poet Laureate, Ashley.
Thank you all so much, and it is an honor to be here. When I heard about this, I was just so excited to be a part of something. This is the first time I've ever written an opera, and what an incredible experience to be able to do that about Colorado Springs. Out of a place where I have grown up, where I have developed, and am now representing you all as the Pikes Peak Poet Laureate and getting to infuse. Yes, we can cheer for that. So what I love, and very specifically about IBOC, is that they're looking for folks who haven't been in operas before. They want to develop and create artistic visions for folks who are in this work. And so as spoken word and being a co-librettist, I think it's a powerful opportunity to take what I know and love with spoken word and infuse it into this work. So I grew up here. I've spent most of my life here, and I didn't know anything about the Stroud family. I heard about it. There's a scholarship at CC, but I didn't really know. So as we were creating this among the lyrics, I was learning right alongside about this incredible history. And so that's what we want for you all too, is to learn with us. Walk along this journey to understand who is from here. And unfortunately, the same things that Dolphus faced in 1928, we are still facing in 2022. Right? I grew up not seeing people who look like me. I grew up understanding there were differences and the obstacles that come with being a black person in Colorado Springs. And very specifically, as a black woman, we're hearing the story about Dolphus, but also Aunt Jenny and Effie and the strong black women who were behind him and supporting him and driving. And that's what I want to bring. I want people to connect to these characters, know that they are us, that these are the people who are part of Colorado Springs. This is part of our legacy. And what I focused on really specifically is this idea of inheritance, right? So we heard the connection to enslavement, we heard the connection to indigeneity, and what we know to be true is that we often celebrate the first, right? The first person to do something, the first person to accomplish. But what we know is there are so many people who did not make it to that first place and made it possible for us to be here. And for the Stroud family, right, the first were the folks who left slavery, the folks who were able to move, even getting to Colorado Springs. And there were so many people, including myself, that it is possible for me to stand here and present to you all. It is possible for me to be the first Black Poet Laureate of our region. That would not happen without people like Dolphus, without the Stroud family moving through. And so what this is about is not the end of the race, right? It's not that he didn't make those trials, it was the fact that he got there. And have you heard, you have to work twice as hard to get half of what they have, some folks in here, right? Often attributed to what it feels like to be Black in America. And what's important to note, that it is not because we do not have the skill, the strength, the power, and the resilience. It is because we have to work twice as hard to overcome obstacles that were set in front of us. just like Dolphus. There is no question he was the fastest. No question that he should have made it, but people put obstacles in his way, and he relied on his feet. And so I want to share with you a piece that I created, specifically looking at, we talk about generational trauma, right? We've heard that before. There's also generational blessings. There are things in which we inherit that propel us forward, and for me, it was this idea of his feet. His feet got him so many places, and I am still walking in the places where Dolphus was. Many of us in this audience are still walking in those spaces and creating routes for other people. And so I want to share this piece that I wrote as a part of being on Paradise. Blessed are the feet that turn obstacles into stepping stones. Alchemy hardship into legacy. Between barefoot toes, the dirt fertilizes hope. Grows capacity to carry tired bodies to freedom, lift oppressed souls to liberation, support weary spirits to rest. This is how his race begins. Dolphus walked across America on these feet, set records on these feet, ancestral prayers tucked into his shoes. He stepped into his inheritance. Broke records and misconceptions of what the Black mind and body can do. Proved eugenics was a feeble grasp at white supremacy. Shifted paradigms of human performance. In 1928, he grounded his heels like boots at the starting line for the 5,000 meters. Only speed and time stood between him and a bus to the Olympic trials. Took his mark, ran his race, won his race, told his race was not welcome on this bus. Denied funding and travel, Dolphus was left with his feet and walked to the trials. Guided by the spirit of family, speaking affirmations like protection spells across an America hooded in racism. These feet, imbued with the resilience of generations, brought him to Boston. Weary from transforming 2,000 miles under his soles into possibilities, he collapsed in exhaustion and malnutrition during the race, forced to push his body to the limits just to have a chance to try. He was unable to continue because society was unable to conceive that hope looked like a Black boy. That hope was Black intellect and speed. That hope nestled itself in the arch of Dolphus's feet and spilled out across the country. Dolphus, the great Black hope of the Rocky Mountains, forged sacred footsteps through the unforgiving journey of equality, innovated when met with resistance, blessed in perpetuity the feat that made him a legend. Thank you.
That we thought were appropriate for this workshop presentation.